All right, well, my name's Curt Lewis. I've lived in the Fort Atkinson School District for 10 years. We moved in here from Denver, just because of work and family. We had family in Janesville, and we chose Fort Atkinson just because it seemed like an excellent place to live and raise a family. Since then, I've been involved in some of the sports projects going on here in youth sports, and doing that and trying to participate. We have 5 kids in the school district, all boys, from juniors in high school down to the 5th grade in Luther. And, I guess the big part of why to do this, first off, I'm a dad, all right, and I'm an involved dad. And, I love my kids and I want to support my kids 100%. And also, in getting out here and coaching in the community and working with all of these kids, honestly, I want to see every one of these kids excel and be able to create the opportunity for every child to achieve its highest potential. You know, People might think that we live in the small world of Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin, but really our kids need to be prepared for the world stage. It is a world business market. When I go to work every day, I don't just deal with people that live in my community. I have people that live in the Philippines. I have people that live in France. I have, all these different people to deal with at work, and they're all competing for the same jobs. And that's where our children are growing up now. So it's not just, hey, you're in small town USA. We got to prepare them to be in a future where they've got to be out in the global market. The connection to Fort Atkinson is basically the fact that I've, you know, researched this community, and I found it to be an excellent place to raise a family. And I got here, and I do love it. I love the town. I like the people that are in it. I think that it's an excellent place to raise a family. So I mean, it's not where I've always been from, but I've served multiple communities in all sorts of places where I've lived. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and one of the suburbs. If I told you the town, you wouldn't know what town it was. But Olmsted Falls, Ohio, who knows where that is? But after going in the military and moving around, and moving for work, like I said, having that experience in the global market, taking and achieving those next opportunities as they're presented to you. And when we found Fort Atkinson, it was just an excellent place to be, an excellent place to reside. And after my life of doing a lot of service, I was in the military for 6 years. I was a police officer for 10 years, and it didn't suit the needs of the family as we started having more and more kids, and I went back to a technology-driven job. But this is another manifestation of my want to serve the communities that I live in. The role of the school board in a thriving community is to, assist the administration. I don't think it's always meant to come. I think a lot of people think that it's supposed to come against or restrict an administration. We're supposed to come alongside as partners and being that community voice for our kids. And like I said, it's about creating those opportunities, and it's about having oversight as well. It's just like we don't have in any form of our government a king that makes all the decisions. It always comes back to the people. And likewise, in raising our children, someone once said it takes a village. Well, this is your opportunity as a citizen to choose your village, the people that's going to represent you, and make sure that your ideas get heard before the administration. So I think that's why the school board exists, especially for Fort Atkinson. The greatest priority I see is to create more depth and community involvement. You know, a lot of, as a, we have a town here where, the last information I looked up, and don't quote me on all this, it's, as you know, when you use Google, you get all sorts of information, right? You look at the census data, but it appears that our median age in town's 44 years old. That means that half the people in this community don't have kids in the school district. So we need to reach those people and see and convince them of why it's important. If have you ever been that person that was in a crowd of people, and then you started to cheer and realized no one was cheering around you, and then you're like, oh God, what did I do? Well, you have a community of close to 13,000 people and 2,500 students in our school district. Okay, we all need to be cheering with these kids. We need to let them know that it's okay to excel. It's okay to succeed and set goals. And that's what we want to do. We want to provide opportunities to set goals, and as a community, we need to, like I said, have that village mentality and drive the kids to achieve their greatest potentials. Because if we set low bars, they're absolutely going to meet them. You need to set high standards. They will meet those high standards and be ready for whatever they choose to do in the future. Budgeting and financial management is always a sticky situation because funding for schools has, lies in the community to do referendum, or the state to send you money, or these different avenues or revenue streams. I think it's important to kind of approach it in a couple of different ways. First off, finding the resources to bring the money in is one thing. Second is also responsible use of the money. As I told someone before, sometimes you got to check your couch cushions, for the spare change, right? There's got to be a way to be fiscally responsible with the money that the community's entrusted to our education system. But then on the other hand, as I was talking to some other people, they say, well, we don't have to do a referendum for the jail. The money's just there. But, and so, there are different laws and stuff that regard, school boards and funding and things like that. And, I'm learning that as I've, been doing some research. All the rules, just because the money's there doesn't mean it can be used for anything that you want to use it for. It has to be appropriated for those things. There's a legal way to do it. And, like I said, as I've been, researching and asking different people, whether it be in the state Congress or whatever, just trying to, find answers to questions that I've been hearing from the community. Promoting a positive, once again, just like you do with the students, okay? Or just like I do at work. All right, you have to set goals, and they have to be attainable goals. All right, you can't just sit here and say, okay, well, how many kids learned with you today? So, how do you measure that? But it's the expectation that there's a plan in place, that there's fair compensation for what they're doing, that not only are the teachers supported in the classroom for what they're doing, but we also need to make sure that the teachers are able to support their families and do those things, because just like for me at my job or you at your job, okay, if you have stress outside of the workplace, it comes into the workplace. And that's the last place that we want that, is in our schools. So we want to make sure those teachers are 100% supported and have the backing of the school board. You don't want the school board to be sitting there like a gotcha, group of people, where the teachers feel like they're coming in to get, browbeat. Because I think that, that in some communities it could have, that flavor. And, this is all about the kids. What do we need to do to make the kids have the best possible environment? What do we need to do to allow the teachers to use their gifts and creativity and the love they have for their kids and make that possible to give the kids the best possible learning environment? Well, you know, I think that that's based on how people's opinions, different opinions are. I can tell you that I thoroughly enjoy every opportunity I get to be with the kids in the school district. Whether it's coaching track at the middle school, helping out different fundraisers, even working concession stands or whatever it is that we're doing. I truly love these kids. I love interacting with them, and, sometimes I even feel like, you get to make a connection that maybe a kid would take on, into their future. And, so I think authenticity, what you see is what you get here. I'm going to tell you what I think. And, you know, so between authenticity and just a real enjoyment for the children in this community. I hope to leave a legacy of greater community involvement. I really want to. I think the school board does a lot of great things where they are, doing the administrative part of their jobs. Okay, but we really need to cheerlead these kids. We need to be like cheerleaders for the community, and get the community to rally around these kids as they move forward in their education and within the community, because that's the future of this community. If you want the community to grow, okay, and continue to prosper, then we're going to need to have future generations here that are capable of carrying that. So, I hope to be able to lead a future where we really start to institute that Blackhawk pride into this community and give the whole community something to rally around. Okay, not just the 25 kids in the school board, but I want everybody in Fort Atkinson to feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves. You know, you have some really great opportunity to get in here and affect the things that you would like to see happen in your community. Don't sit on the sidelines. It is a gift or a right, I guess, in our country to be able to go vote. If you look at, countries across the world, sometimes you could look at this as a gift that you have to be able to speak into your community. And no matter who you vote for, get out and exercise your right to do that.